All right, everybody, welcome to Extra Innings on themajors.net. This is actually our first show. We're going to kind of recap everything we did on the Majors Live, and we're going to be talking about one extra topic, too, and it relates to what happened in Detroit yesterday as far as the Monday night game between the Minnesota Vikings and the New York Giants. But kind of rounding out what happened on the Majors Live today, we covered actually the Vikings and Giants game, just the way it went down in Detroit. I myself was able to go to it,
which is really sweet.
Yeah, it was actually the game itself wasn't very good considering the Giants totally dominated. But
sounds all right to me.
Yeah, same here too. But the atmosphere and the way that Detroit put it on was absolutely phenomenal. They did a great job considering the amount of time they had to work with it.
Virtually no time whatsoever.
Virtually no time whatsoever. I think we said on the show that the roof caved in at the Metrodome about 5 a.m. Sunday morning. So Lions, Detroit didn't have too much time to set that up, but they did a very good job at doing that. We also took a look at Brett Favre's consecutive games starting streak that came to an end at 297.
3 shy of what he wanted.
3 shy of what he wanted. So starts all over again for Brett Favre if he wants to go ahead and try it again. Which
you never know.
You never know. They didn't place him on the IR, Minnesota Vikings, so they could be back to start him at some point or another this season. I think there's 3 games left.
Yeah,
and so there isn't much time. It seemed like that shoulder injury is pretty bad.
He's done.
And then we also talked about the Metrodome itself. Is this enough leverage for the Minnesota Vikings to get a new stadium? Because they've been wanting one for a long time, and there's rumors about them going to L.A. or somewhere else where they can get a new stadium.
They're not leaving Minnesota. They're really not. Even if they can't get a new stadium, they're not leaving Minnesota.
I hope they don't.
I don't either. I can't stand the Vikings, but I mean, it's the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, come on.
Exactly.
What, the 50th year in the league this year?
Yep.
I mean,
that's right.
I just don't see them going anywhere, but who knows? I don't know.
We also took a look at the bowl season itself. Kind of ran down all the bowl games that are happening this season so far. Not so far. They actually start December 18th. And we kind of asked the question, is there too many bowl games? And, I was going to dangle the question out there, too. I did it Inside the Huddle, whether or not there should be a BCS playoff, which is a question that's been thrown out there tons of times before, whether it be the Majors Live or any other sports show that you see on TV or listen to on the radio.
Over the last decade.
So I wouldn't mind seeing a BCS playoff for maybe 8 teams or so, but, the way things are right now, obviously there's going to be some teams left out. They're going to be on the outside looking in as far as BCS bowl games go, like Michigan State, which we talked about as well.
Yeah.
And, that's just the way things are right now with the BCS system. Big Ten's new logo and divisions. It was a general consensus among all of us, and it seems like it's a general consensus among everybody who's a Big Ten fan of any of the schools that the names of the new divisions and the logo is horrible. They're horrendous. The Legends and the Leaders division, and then the logo itself, like I said, is not very good. I don't care if it's called the Big Ten still. That doesn't bother me.
That is just tradition. If you want to talk about tradition, that's the tradition part of the Big Ten is that there hasn't been 10 teams in the league for 16 years, so...
Exactly, so I don't have any
problem with that. Care.
It's just the names are lame.
No, that's stupid. It's just... they spend money on something that they didn't need to do. This was something that they didn't need to do.
Exactly.
Division A, Division B. It didn't matter what the divisions were called. They were splitting in 2, so who cares what they're called?
Exactly.
But at the same time... stupid. What's the point of you doing that? I just don't get it. It's just dumb.
And then finally, we touched on some MLB hot stove news as well. Cliff Lee, obviously, signing with the Philadelphia Phillies midnight, which was kind of surprising considering the 2 big teams that seem to be going after him were the Texas Rangers and the New York Yankees. And there was talk of a third mystery team in there, and it turns out that may have been the Philadelphia Phillies. Yeah. So he signed for less years, and seemingly it seemed like less money. not
when it
considering...
originally came out, what was it? It was 5 years, $100 million.
Yeah, something like that.
Or something like that.
But I think it was Tip that brought it up, saying that he signed with a place that he thought was was more comfortable for him, which you gotta respect.
No,
I mean, he's not going after the money. He's doing what's best seemingly for himself and his family. So
plus 120 million to 137 million. I mean, seriously, what's really the difference? I know $17 million, but whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll be fine.
And he pitched phenomenal there when he was with the.
No, he did. He pitched great there.
Mm-hmm. And then obviously Carl Crawford landing with the Red Sox. Again last week, that was another big signing for the Red Sox right after they got Adrian Gonzalez. And then on top of that, we kind of talked about who had the best offseason. And it seemed like the Red Sox made the biggest splash. And just the offense that they have going into this season, it's, you take a look at who has the best pitching staff. It's obviously Philadelphia, in my opinion. You take a look at who has the best offense. You can't go wrong with Boston's offense. Crawford, Adrian Gonzalez, even, Jacoby Ellsbury is a guy that can get on base. Kevin Youkilis, David Ortiz, lots of guys that can, put the ball in play and get some runs in for them. So,
the fact that they traded for Adrian Gonzalez, like, that's what actually, that's how they were able to get Carl Crawford. And right there, it's just like, the Red Sox are going to be, they're going to be great next year. They should be great, put it that way.
The big topic for Extra Innings is, going back to that whole Ford Field thing, and I heard about this on some local radio stations and the local media in Detroit. Detroit hasn't had a Monday night game since, I think it was... I was at it
against the Rams.
Against the Rams at the old Silver Dome. I think that was 2001.
It was 2001. It was Morning Mike's first year.
Yup, and
I think we lost 35-0 or 30
something like that.
It was horrible.
I remember they got the "Let's Go Red Wings" chant going in it. So it was obviously
a horrible game. Oh my god, it was a horrible game.
Ugly game. Yeah. And I believe the only other Monday night game the Lions got, I believe they did get a preseason game.
Against the Rams?
I
was at it in 2005.
I was at it too!
That's ridiculous. That's hilarious, yeah.
But,
it was both against Rams, and again, we got friggin'
They got killed.
And the Rams weren't even that good in 2005.
No, they weren't.
Oh my god, but we've just sucked for a decade. It's been a long year. Decade,
It was. It's
sucks.
Obviously, we're Detroit fans. Legolas has got the Detroit sweatshirt on. I've got the Tigers shirt on. So obviously, there's nothing to hide when we're actually on when you could see us. But Lions haven't had a Monday night game in a while. They've had national televising. Obviously, they have the Thanksgiving game every single year. But given everything that the Lions have done to help the NFL, whether it be through sponsorships, whenever you look at the NFL, whether it be watching Fox or whatever, you go, you see advertisements around the league. Ford is a huge sponsor.
The F-150 basically is the sponsor of Fox football.
Yes.
Just watch it every Sunday. That's all you see is F-150 commercials. So.
And the Fords own the Lions.
No, exactly, yeah.
And then after this week, Tom Luan, the president of the Detroit Lions, Ford Field, the Fords, they really stepped in to help out the Minnesota Vikings and the rest of the NFL to host the game at Ford Field and then give away tickets for free to the game for the most part. Do you think the NFL owes the Lions a Monday night game next season?
That's a good one. It's so hard to say. Yes, I don't know why it would hurt. Because, are the Lions, they're not good. Are they better than they were last year? Yeah, they've improved greatly. And friggin' injury bug is always been, that's every team's downfall, but it just seems to always the Lions a little harder. Yeah, I actually do. And I just, even if we're not that good, it's Detroit, we will sell that game out in a heartbeat. Mm-hmm. And because of Thanksgiving, Detroit does have a huge following.
Absolutely.
The rest of the country, you do hear it. It does seem to bother people, and they seem bummed out. They seem bummed out when the Lions are bad, and we've been bad for a really long time. So absolutely, I think they totally deserve a game next year because people will watch it. Even if we're bad, people will watch the Lions.
Sure, and even this season, like you said, the Lions aren't as bad. I mean, even though the record right now is one game better than what they were last season.
It feels like so much more.
It does. It feels
really
like
does.
more. Every single game that they play, for the most part, they are in the game.
Yeah.
And us as Lions fans know that, they're going to blow it somewhere. Now they're in those games.
Oh, even that Green Bay game this weekend, it's just like, how is this going to, how are they going to do it?
I turned to Aaron from inside the huddle and I said, you know what? There's 5 minutes left in that game. I'm like, they're still going to lose.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I was like, yeah, I know. But I agree with you. I think the NFL does owe the Lions. Even with that, even them, the Lions bailing out the NFL and the Minnesota Vikings by letting them use Ford Field.
Yeah.
Just the way that some of these calls, the way they've gone this season for the Lions, whether it be the Kelvin Johnson catch, no catch, first game of the season against the Bears, which the Lions should have won, and then some of these other penalty calls later on where Ndamukong Suh got penalized and fined for basically no reason. A shove that he put on Jay Cutler, which was totally legal.
Yeah.
And pulling Marion Barber's hair, which he got called for a horse collar against the Dallas Cowboys a few weeks ago, which
now they say you're allowed to do.
Yeah.
So.
Which you're allowed to do anyway.
You are allowed to do anyway.
So, yeah, I definitely do think the Lions deserve a Monday night game next season, and I hope the NFL grants it to them. I don't think they will.
I don't think they will.
I
hope they do. It'd be great.
But maybe 2 years from now. 2 years from now, definitely they should get one. But, you go and you take a look at some of these Monday night games. Some of these Monday night games are really nothing to get excited about.
Hell no.
I think at one point we had Tennessee taking on Jacksonville, and Jacksonville is one of the worst sports markets in the entire United States. Football, every sport. I know Jacksonville doesn't have. I think Jacksonville they only have one professional team, but still, even that market for football is very, very bad.
It.
Yeah, so I hope they do. Lions definitely deserve it, and I know we may sound like homers coming off, saying the Lions deserve it, but still, Detroit still is one of the biggest sports markets in the country, and look what happened yesterday. There was tons and tons of people there last night at Ford Field in Detroit for two teams that had basically nothing to do with the city of Detroit. No. Minnesota plays in the NFC North, and the Lions play in the NFC North, but that's basically it.
Yeah, we hate the Vikings.
We have
that in common with them, but
other than that, though, last night just goes to show what type of sports town Detroit is, and if it's a big game, then they will come out in droves, I said groves, yeah.
Yeah, I heard it.
For to watch this game. And this city is just absolutely football crazy. So.
I think if the Sioux's enough of a draw just because their defense is pretty damn good right now. Well, at least their front four is. But if Stafford wasn't hurt, I think we probably have a really good shot at getting him because Stafford's a name and they could advertise that.
Sure.
I think, and even next, it's hard to say because I don't know. It's been in the league 2 years and he's still hasn't played a full season. So
it's for Stafford.
But I think if Stafford's healthy, we would have probably 5 or 6 wins. But I think if we have someone like Stafford, then it actually helps your team out so much. I think if Stafford was healthy, even if he came back like now, I think we would have a much better chance of getting a Monday night game.
I totally agree with you. Other than that, that's going to wrap up Extra Innings. Make sure you catch the Majors live every Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m., right on themajors.net. And this weekend we also have Inside the Huddle, 10 a.m. Saturday morning on themajors.net and Detroit Sports League for you Detroit sports fans out there on themajors.net as well, Sunday morning at 10 a.m. And like we also mentioned, Detroit Grouty Radio is coming back January 6th. So lots of stuff happening at the Majors and Grouty, so make sure you stay tuned for all of that.
Can I give a shout out to Mark?
Absolutely.
I was bummed today. My favorite tennis star of all time, my favorite tennis player of all time, Martina Hingis, got married this past week in Paris. Broke my heart. But she went for a younger guy, so I can't compete with that. So congratulations to Martina Hingis, though, 5-time Grand Slam champion, my favorite tennis player of all time.
Awesome.
So hopefully it works out.
With that said, Legolas, I'm Adam Hernandez saying, see you next week and have a good night, everybody.
See ya.